These are our Frenzy Faves.
Today, our Frenzy Faves is a favorite Twilight Zone episode.
Thanks, Chris. What episode are we looking at this week?
Thank you, Professor. Today's episode that we're going to cover is entitled Back There. This is from Season 2, Episode 13. It was directed by David Orrick McDearman. It was written by Rod Serling. The featured music is by Jerry Goldsmith. And the original air date was January 13th, 1961. For our cast, we have Russell Johnson, Paul Hartman, John Lascelles, Bartlett Robinson, Nora Marlowe, Raymond Bailey, and Raymond Greenleaf. Prof, can you please tell us what happens and what your thoughts are on Back There?
Our story opens on April 14th, 1961, in a fancy private club in Washington, D.C. There are a group of men playing cards and talking around a table about time travel and how if someone goes back into time, they could change the course of history. One of them, Peter Corrigan, not the professor, leaves, and while he is exiting, he's bumped by a server named William and gets coffee spilled on him. No problem, William. Don't worry about it. On the stoop of the club, Corrigan feels woozy. Things get fuzzy, and when they refocus, everything is different. The streets are lit by gaslight, and automobiles are replaced by horse-drawn carriages. He goes home, to where his house should be anyway, and finds it's now a boarding house. That's pretty weird. What's the date, by the way? April 14th, 1885, the date of the assassination of President Lincoln. He rushes to Ford's Theater to stop the assassination, but is brought to jail for trying to break down the stage door. At the jail, a man whose card says Jonathan Wellington overhears Corrigan saying that a John Wilkes Booth is going to assassinate President Lincoln. He says that he's an expert in mental health and he can take charge of the prisoner. Yeah, sad guy. He was probably a war vet who lost his mind at Gettysburg and he shouldn't be in jail. The desk sergeant agrees and lets him go. A lowly officer questions this to the sergeant. Maybe they should send police to guard Lincoln. The sergeant says that the president has an army to protect him. He should be fine. Corrigan is taken to Wellington's house, where he's promptly drugged and locked in the room. The landlady and that lowly officer from the police station open the door to the room. The officer has been convinced that Corrigan was telling the truth and has been going all over town trying to get extra protection for the president. Corrigan tells him to rush to the theater, stand near the president, and he's going to be shot from behind. He asks where Wellington is. Where was he? He left and locked me in this room. And the landlady says, Wellington? There's no Wellington here. These rooms are taken by one John Wilkes Booth. Uh-oh. Let's go stop him. But it's too late. From the street, they hear shouts of, President Lincoln has been shot, and upset crowds gather. Corrigan freaks out. Why didn't they listen to me? Suddenly, he finds himself on the doorstep of the club. It's the modern day again. He's let in, and another attendant asks if he forgot something because he just left a moment ago. Corrigan says no and asks for William. The attendant says there's no William around here. What? He goes back to the table where his friends are. They aren't talking about time travel anymore. They're talking about how to make a lot of money. And William over here knows the best way. We now see William, the former attendant, now richly dressed and clearly wealthy, sitting at the table playing cards with everyone else. William says the best way to make money is to inherit it like he did from his great-grandfather, who, on the day of the Lincoln assassination, tried to get protection for the president and became famous for it, was made chief of police, then a councilman, and made a lot of money with canny investments. Corrigan tells the group that in the matter of time travel, some things can be changed while others can't. I love this episode. It's easy for a 2024 viewer of this show to overlook how groundbreaking this kind of time travel story would have been for a 1961 audience. Sure, we see things coming, but I don't think earlier audience would have like we can. Twilight Zone episodes like this have influenced entertainment for 60 years now. I also like seeing Russell Johnson, the professor from Gilligan's Island, in this. He is really good. I totally believe him at every point in this crazy journey. It's terrific seeing an actor that you think you know and has been playing one role that you know him from over and over and over, and seeing him in something different and having him just shine through. It's a great show, great episode. Chris, what do you think about this episode of Twilight Zone?
Thanks, Prof. I'll get some trivia out of the way. The music is done by Jerry Goldsmith, and keen viewers of the Twilight Zone might recognize some of the music being used before. And particularly, there's one bit where this music was also used in To Serve Man, and I'm sure it was used elsewhere in some other episodes. To get some trivia out of the way, Russell Johnson would also appear in the Twilight Zone episode Execution. For those keeping score of those with multiple Twilight Zone appearances, he is best known as the professor on Gilligan's Island. Raymond Bailey also appeared in the Twilight Zone episodes Escape Clause and From Agnes with Love, and he's probably best known as Milburn Drysdale on the Beverly Hillbillies. Paul Hartman, who is the desk sergeant, is best known for playing Emmett on the Andy Griffith Show. And we had John Lascelles played Wellington, a.k.a. John Wilkes Booth, who perhaps is best known for playing Dr. Peter Guthrie on The Dark Shadows. Coincidentally, Russell Johnson's other Twilight Zone episode, Execution, also dealt with time travel. Poor guy. He didn't seem to fare too well in succeeding with what he wanted to accomplish in both episodes. And I find that kind of a shame, because Johnson, see what you will of him in Gilligan's Island, is a really, really talented and versatile actor. There's an earnestness to his performance. And the villainy that we have with the John Wilkes Booth character really, really is spot on. Lascelles is a great actor. I haven't seen him in much other than the two things that I mentioned, but I thought he was a really, really cunning and conniving villain here. You just get that shock when Johnson's character opens up the handkerchief and he sees the engraving JWB, a real telling moment there in this series. One of the elements, though, that I forgot was that we did have the old switcheroo where there is a little ripple that Johnson's character does in this, and a character does profit by this, be it the character's one grandfather becoming a millionaire. That's an element of the story that I had forgotten all along until I saw the recent rewatch. So I really appreciate it. One thing that puzzled me a little bit, though, because it's not clear what Wellington or Wilkes Booth does to pass himself off to the police and get Johnson's character into custody. He hands him a card. Now, presumably he's a doctor, but we don't know. Is he an attorney? Is he somebody who just really cares for war veterans? It's not sure. And I don't know how this could pass with somebody just basically saying, oh, well, here, policeman, give me this guy that you got in custody. I'll take care of him. It was a simpler time, but of course the episode wouldn't have worked if that had not happened. Twilight Zone did do a lot of time travel episodes. I thought this was done really effectively. And there was just a sincerity to Russell Johnson's performance that I thought elevated it another level. And for that, I really appreciated it. It's good to see. And it's one of those questions that one does still ponder, I think. What could you possibly, if you had the opportunity, were able to change an event in time and just set the course of events? And if so, how would things turn out? A fascinating episode, and I thought was one that was thought-provoking, and it is one of my favorite episodes.
Just another comic day. These are our friends